What if I told you that most of your suffering has nothing to do with what happens to you, but everything to do with your refusal to let things happen? People disappoint you. They ignore you. They misunderstand you. They choose differently than you hoped. And every time, you tighten your grip. You replay conversations. You try to control outcomes. You want explanations. You want closure. You want them to change. And slowly, silently, you exhaust yourself. The ancient Stoics had a simple answer to this endless inner war. 2 words: let them. Let them misunderstand you. Let them doubt you. Let them leave. Let them talk. Let them fail you. Not because you're weak, but because you're done bleeding over things you cannot control. In this video, you will learn how the let them theory, rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy, can return your peace, your clarity, and your power. Stay until the end, because this mindset doesn't just calm you, it frees you. Part 1. The let them Stoic mindset. What if the secret to unshakable inner peace was not control, but release? What if the moment you stopped resisting people, events, and outcomes was the moment your life became lighter, calmer, and stronger? This is not passive surrender. This is Stoic power. The ancient Stoics understood something modern minds often miss. Most suffering is self-created, not by what happens to us, but by our refusal to let things be. This is where the let them mindset begins, not as indifference, not as weakness, but as disciplined emotional sovereignty. 1. Why you are exhausted and don't know why. Look closely at your mental fatigue. It doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from mental resistance. You are tired because you want people to behave differently. You want the past to change. You want others to understand you. You want outcomes to obey your expectations. And every time reality refuses, you tighten your grip. The Stoics warned against this trap centuries ago. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Yet most people live as if everything should be up to them. They argue with reality. They negotiate with the uncontrollable. They fight storms instead of adjusting their sails. And the cost is enormous. Chronic stress, quiet resentment, emotional burnout, a mind that never rests. The let them principle begins with ending this war. 2. Let them is not giving up, it is waking up. Many misunderstand this philosophy. They think, if I let them, I lose. The Stoic response is clear. If you resist what you cannot control, you lose anyway. Let them does not mean let them disrespect you, let them abuse you, let them cross your boundaries. It means let them be who they already are. Let events unfold as they will. Let go of the illusion that force creates peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The let them mindset draws a sharp line. Outside, release. Inside, mastery. You stop wasting energy on what was never yours to control, and suddenly your strength returns. 3. The hidden source of emotional pain. Why does someone's behavior upset you so deeply? Because part of you believes they should be different. They owe you understanding. They must act according to your values. But Stoicism teaches expectation is the root of emotional disturbance. People act from their level of awareness, their wounds, their fears, their conditioning. When you demand wisdom from the unwise or kindness from the unhealed, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. The Stoic does not ask, why are they like this? He asks, why am I disturbed by something I cannot change? That question alone restores power. 4. Emotional control begins with non-resistance. Here's the shift. Instead of saying, this shouldn't be happening, you say, this is happening. Now, how will I respond? Instead of thinking, they shouldn't treat me this way, you think, their behavior is theirs, my response is mine. This is not cold detachment, this is clarity. When you stop resisting reality, anger weakens, anxiety dissolves, overthinking quiets, because the mind no longer fights what already exists. Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Let them shuts down unnecessary imagination. 5. Let them judge you. One of the hardest applications of this principle is social judgment. People will misunderstand you, judge your choices, project their fears onto you, rewrite your story. Most people try to correct every narrative. The Stoic does not. Why? Because reputation is external, and chasing external approval is slavery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, I do my duty, other things trouble me not. When you let people think what they want, you reclaim mental freedom. You stop performing. You start living honestly. Their opinions lose their grip. 6. Let them leave. This is where the philosophy becomes painful but powerful. Some people will outgrow you, walk away, stop choosing you. Your instinct is to chase, explain, convince, hold on tighter. The Stoic path is different. You let them go, not because it doesn't hurt, but because self-respect matters more than attachment. Epictetus taught, never depend on the admiration of others. If someone chooses distance, you remain whole. Let them leave, and you remain whole. 7. Peace is not found in control, but in alignment. The let them mindset does not make life perfect. It makes life lighter. You still act, you still set boundaries, you still pursue excellence, but you no longer fight what is not yours to fight. And that is where peace begins.
Part 2. The Stoic Discipline of Detachment. Why let them restores your power. Keyword hook. Stoicism. Inner peace. Emotional control. Let them theory. Mental discipline. If Part 1 revealed what the let them mindset is, then Part 2 reveals why it works and why most people resist it. Because letting go feels like weakness to an untrained mind. But to a Stoic, detachment is not surrender, it is command. The moment you say, let them, you are not stepping back, you are stepping above. Above chaos, above ego, above the exhausting illusion that you are responsible for managing other people's emotions, decisions, and misunderstandings. Stoicism was never about controlling life. It was about ending the war inside your mind. And the let them principle is one of the sharpest weapons ever forged for that purpose. 1. Why you suffer. The hidden addiction to control. Most people believe their pain comes from events. But Marcus Aurelius exposed the truth nearly 2,000 years ago. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Your suffering does not come from someone disrespecting you, someone leaving you, someone misunderstanding you, someone acting unfairly. Your suffering comes from the inner demand that they should not have done so. That demand is the real source of pain. You tell yourself, they shouldn't treat me like this. They should understand me. They should change. They should care. And when reality refuses to obey your expectations, frustration turns into resentment, anxiety, and bitterness. The let them mindset removes the poison at its source. Instead of fighting reality, you acknowledge it, not with defeat, but with clarity. 2. Let them is not passive, it is strategic. Many misunderstand this philosophy. They think let them means accept abuse, tolerate disrespect, stay silent forever, become emotionally numb. This is false. Stoicism never taught submission, it taught selective engagement. Epictetus made it clear. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Notice what he did not say. He did not say allow harm. He said refuse to internalize it. When you say let them, you let them speak, but you choose whether to listen. You let them act, but you decide your response. You let them leave, but you don't chase. You let them judge, but you don't explain. This is not weakness. This is emotional sovereignty. You are no longer reactive. You are no longer available for manipulation. You are no longer drained by chaos that is not yours. 3. The Stoic law of ownership. What is actually yours? At the core of Stoicism lies one unbreakable law. Some things are within your control. Most things are not. Your thoughts, yours. Your actions, yours. Your values, yours. Your effort, yours. Other people's, opinions, emotions, reactions, choices, not yours. Yet most people live as if they are responsible for managing all of it. They over-explain. They defend themselves unnecessarily. They replay conversations in their head. They anticipate rejection. They fear judgment. Why? Because they refuse to release ownership of what was never theirs. Let them is the moment you return misplaced responsibility back to reality. And with that return comes relief. 4. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is cleanliness. Think of your mind as a room. Every time you obsess over someone's tone, someone's silence, someone's opinion, someone's behavior, you invite clutter. Soon the room becomes unlivable. Detachment is not indifference, it is mental hygiene. When you say, let them, you stop carrying conversations that are over. You stop reliving moments you can't change. You stop rehearsing arguments that never happen. You create space, and in that space, peace begins to grow. 5. Let them in relationships, the end of chasing. One of the most powerful applications of this mindset is in relationships. Romantic, familial, professional. Most suffering in relationships comes from chasing alignment. You chase validation, commitment, effort, consistency. You try to convince someone to meet you where you already stand. The Stoic response is simple and terrifying to the insecure mind. Let them. Let them pull away, show less effort, reveal their priorities, act without consideration. Because information is more valuable than illusion. When you stop chasing, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop proving your value. And something remarkable happens. Either they step forward voluntarily, or they step out completely. Both outcomes are clarity, and clarity is
is peace. 6. Power shifts the moment you stop reacting. Manipulation feeds on reaction. Provocation feeds on reaction. Disrespect feeds on reaction. Drama feeds on reaction. The moment you stop reacting, the dynamic collapses. This is why "let them" is so destabilizing to toxic people. They expect anger, defense, guilt, explanation. Instead, they get calm, silence, boundaries, distance. And that silence is not emptiness, it is authority. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You don't win by reacting better, you win by not playing at all. 7. Let them fail, let them misunderstand, let them leave. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone will choose growth. And forcing them to do so only delays the inevitable. Stoicism teaches acceptance of impermanence. People come, people go. Roles change, seasons end. When you cling, you suffer. When you release, you stabilize. Let them is not rejection of others. It is loyalty to your inner order. 8. The psychological freedom that follows. Once you truly adopt this mindset, several changes occur. Your anxiety decreases because you stop predicting behavior. Your anger fades because you stop expecting fairness. Your confidence grows because you stop seeking approval. Your energy returns because you stop managing chaos. You become less reactive, more grounded, more deliberate, more self-directed. You no longer live against life, you start moving with it. This is not detachment from humanity. It is detachment from unnecessary suffering. 9. The Stoic paradox. Letting go is how you gain control. Here is the paradox that transforms everything. The more you try to control people, the less control you have. The more you let go, the more power returns to you. Because control was never external, it was always internal. Let them removes the illusion of power and replaces it with the real thing.
Part 3. Mastery. Living free through the let them mindset. Keyword hook. Stoicism. Inner peace. Emotional mastery. Let them theory. Mental freedom. Self-control. At some point, understanding is no longer enough. Insight must become identity. This is where most people stop and where Stoics continue. The let them mindset is not a comforting quote or a temporary coping tool. It is a discipline, a way of seeing reality without illusion, a decision to stop bleeding energy into battles you were never meant to fight. By now, you understand the principle. You cannot control people. You cannot control outcomes. You cannot control the world. But you can control yourself. And that changes everything. 1. When you truly let them, you stop needing closure. One of the deepest sources of suffering is the need for explanation. Why did they change? Why did they leave? Why did they betray me? Why wasn't I enough? The mind craves closure the way the body craves oxygen. But Stoicism teaches a hard truth. Closure is not something others give you. It is something you choose. Most explanations will never come, and even if they do, they rarely bring peace. The let them mindset cuts through this illusion.
Let them misunderstand. Let them walk away without explaining. Let them rewrite the story. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. When you stop demanding answers from people who are incapable of giving truth, you reclaim your power. Silence becomes your closure. Acceptance becomes your freedom. 2. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. People often confuse Stoicism with emotional numbness. That is a mistake. Stoics feel deeply. They simply refuse to be ruled by emotion. The let them mindset does not make you heartless, it makes you clear. You still care, you still love, you still experience disappointment, sadness, even grief, but you no longer chase peace through control. You stop saying, if they would just change, I could be okay. Instead, you say, I choose peace regardless. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Detachment is not indifference, it is freedom from emotional slavery. 3. Let them leave. Space reveals truth. One of the Stoicist acts is not holding on. When you stop forcing conversations, loyalty, effort, respect, something remarkable happens. Truth reveals itself. People who belong will stay. People who don't will drift, and neither requires your permission. The Stoics understood this deeply. They did not chase validation. They observed behavior. If someone leaves when you stop overgiving, they were never staying for you. Let them go, not with bitterness, not with resentment, with dignity.